Would you please welcome to the stage Dale Brown?
All right, thank you. Okay, first of all, I am not a security company. So what we are is a school, first and foremost. We teach people how to manage threats. And what we emphasize is how to do so non-violently. So how to create non-violent outcomes by understanding psychology, understanding law, and having the skills to create the non-violent outcome. So it's one thing for people to say, well, you know, I don't want to be violent. I don't want you to be violent. I don't want to hurt anyone. But if you don't have actual options, if you don't have entrained and ingrained options, then you will automatically be violent anyway, because we resort to fear. So what my training system does specifically is teach you how to overcome fear and how to have options so you can create the peace that you actually want, whether it's in your community, in your family, your corporation. And so what we've had is 25 years in Detroit of development, of research and development. We had people that volunteered to help us to learn if the system actually worked. We call them gang members and violent people with mental issues. And then we had something called accountability and responsibility to correspond with our outcome and our income. In other words, my income and my outcome are always related. My responsibility and accountability are also related. So if my decisions, if my ideas, my actions and results do not create a positive outcome, I don't have a future. So I'm absolutely accountable for the outcome. This is what separates me from any other kind of organization in existence on top of the educational platform. So if we want humans to perform, we have to have some type of system to educate them. We have to have some type of way to create a replicatable understanding so we can create an outcome that is replicatable. And so what I did for the past 25 years is just that. When I first started, I was on the east side of Detroit in a place that the people and police called Crack Alley. And it was a place where basically police would not go or would not show up, and approximately 400 dwellings in one square block. 90% of the people there are families, just regular people, 10% some type of criminal element. And what I did was I started a school teaching self-defense. My idea was that if we could teach people how to defend themselves, teach them how to become their own bodyguards, not how to fight, but if we could teach them how to do the same thing you see bodyguards do, which is create non-violent outcomes. When have you heard the Secret Service go around attacking, shooting unarmed people? Never. The Secret Service solves problems without having those problems. So why can't you? Why can't we? Why can't regular people create a non-problematic outcome? And so when I first started, I was what I called ultra-violent. I believed that the violence was the pathway to success when dealing with violence. So the more violent person in the room is going to win. So therefore, I wanted to make sure I was that person. So I constantly trained to have the best violence skills, and I did. That's great. Now here's what happens. When you scale that idea up with accountability, you're going to find out that in America, litigious society, and a place with prisons, you will not be happy with the outcome of using violence to solve human interaction issues. So for survival and for prosperity, and most importantly, positivity, I had to create a different way forward. Because once I found out that violence is not the way, I then had to create the way, because I was never shown that any other way. I was shown that force and violence was really the only way to keep humans from doing violent things. And I couldn't be more wrong. I was completely wrong. And as I became more accountable and responsible for outcomes, I was also more interested in creating a different approach. So you could say that the evolution was not by choice, it's really by force, because the reality is once you're accountable for an outcome, there's no more excuses. So you can't pay bills with excuses. You can't pay your lawyers with excuses. So you have to figure out a way not to pay lawyers and not to go to prison while solving violent situations. And that's what the impetus for the training system was. But when I first started in Detroit, I was teaching in parks. I was teaching self-defense. In my school, unlike the martial arts schools I attended, you'd leave your shoes on. Because in real life, we have shoes. We're in Michigan. We do not take our shoes off almost ever. So starting off martial arts class with your shoes off is just not really applicable to real life. And then we have this thing called guns and knives. So learning how to box, where in America, it's not really productive when people have a lot of guns around. So what I did was I created a school where you'd understand the understanding of firearms. So I'm a pistol, firearms, and shotgun and rifle instructor. I was in the military. I was an airborne paratrooper. So I thought, what we need as Americans and American society is a lot of training on how to use weapons in a legal way to defend ourselves at work and at home. and that really the key to our success is having a school to teach us how to use weapons legally, and again, how to use violence and force to affect positive change. All of that was wrong. And so I had to throw away years of firearms experience and martial arts training and develop an entirely different system. And when I started teaching people on the east side of Detroit, I found out that they needed something else. I was told that people in the inner cities, they needed help, but it's also because they wouldn't work with police, because they wouldn't communicate with police, because they're, basically all criminals. The subconscious way of defining that is basically all the inner city people are criminals. That's why they're all working together against each other, and the police are just trying to do the best they can. I believe that. I'm from the suburbs, so I believed it. I was like, yeah, these people need to stop that. So I go in there with this attitude like, hey, you people need to work with the police. They'll do their job. I was a private investigator when I got out of the military, so I thought what the people needed was a better understanding of law, right? So in my school, you'll learn law and how to use weapons while you're defending yourself legally. What I found out was that law is based on interpretation. Very little of it has to do with anything factual. It's just interpretation. You learn that the hard way. The second thing I learned is that we only protect that which we love. We as human beings will never protect what we don't love, even if it's our duty. We protect everything we do love, even if we don't want to. Even if we don't like someone, but we love them, we're still going to protect them. We're going to do the best for them. So what I did was, as an organization, as an individual, all I had was a dog and a rifle when I first started, was I treated everyone like family. I looked at it like, well, what if this is my family that lived here? What if my family lived in this community and needed help? And these little kids, one of those kids were me. What if these families were my family? So I looked at it like that versus looking at it like these are uneducated, ignorant people, inner city, criminals. And I changed my mindset, and therefore I viewed them differently, and therefore I wanted to protect them differently. It wasn't about money. So what I did first was to make sure that I could make a sustainable long-term plan. Was I first tried to talk to police. I thought the police would be a liaison. I would be like a liaison to police, and I could talk to them and take the victims there. And there were home invasions in this one square block every day, like a third world scenario. There were murders every month. And I mean, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe, like, this is our country, and this is happening right here, right across, maybe 500 yards from where I'm at. The mayor lives in a mansion. 500 yards away, if I yelled really loud, the mayor could hear me. I can't believe that you have home invasions and murders right here. And every month, the police come right after, or sometime after, because they're a response-based organization. They're not responsible for any outcomes, and we think they are from watching TV, but that's not realistic. They're doing the best they can to respond, whatever that is. But what we want as humans, as people, we would like to not be raped, robbed, and killed. Well, that is not something you could do after. If you want to prevent that, you have to do something beforehand, which does not include shooting unarmed people, disrespecting people, or creating lawsuits and injuries and deaths because you want to do something to affect change. And so I'm accountable, so I know I can't do that. It's not even on the table. Disrespecting, shooting unarmed people, that's not even an option, ever. So what I did was I first started going to the police, and I found out they just really weren't interested. Instead of getting mad at police, what I did was focus on what we need. We needed safety for the families. So I started to look for ways to do that. Now, what I had to do was I had to get the legal rights in order to help people. In other words, so police could not stop me, because that's what they wanted to do. The criminals want to stop me, of course, from helping the families, but the police were actually working with them. Because it turns out police and people are actually just one thing. So if we hire people from a community, their cousins are also in the community. So if they're a drug dealer and they have a cousin who's a cop, and you are interfering in drug dealer operations, this is not going to be good for you. Like on television, it's totally fake. I totally had to learn all this the hard way. So I'm talking to the cousin of the person that's supposed to go to prison for 20 years, and he's the police officer. He's like, no, that's we're taking care of everything. We're looking into it. We're going to investigate this thoroughly. Thanks for your help, citizen. I was like, oh, see, the police will help you. There they go. And then I realized, like, no one is getting helped. So instead of getting mad at the government, what I did was I made it so that I could make the people safe without being interfered with. So I got legal rights from the building owners to protect their buildings. And the way I did that was I talked to them. I talked to a really rich business owner, one of the building owners there, extremely wealthy guy, owns multiple high rises in Detroit. I said, listen, we need to help the families. There's home invasions. We need to put up better doors, more lighting. He was like, good luck with that. Help your people. That's a good idea. This guy is nice. I like this guy. This guy's got good ideas. I was like, did I say something different? I mean, because I watch movies, and in the movies, this is where you're supposed to say as a good person, like, yeah, let's do that. And I couldn't believe he was not interested. I was like, what movie is this guy watching? You're supposed to like, I say the good thing, and you're like, yes, citizen or young person, I will help you. I was like, he just told me to get out. He was like, no, I'm not interested in that. I'm not making any money. So the part where I buy something is not going to happen because I'm not making any money. I was like, I'm poor, so I don't even understand money. I was like, I'm below the people that pay taxes because I don't have any money to pay taxes. So I'm really not interested in money or taxes. So it's a non-issue to me. He's like, you don't understand. I'm not making any money, so how can I help the people with lighting and doors and windows? I'm not doing any of that. So I said, listen, okay, I said something wrong. So I leave, I come back, I do some research, cost-benefit analysis. I come back with information about how my idea has a cost and where the benefit is for the wealthy person. I said, listen, you lost $60,000. When people get shot and they got murdered, you lost $60,000 every month or so because all these people would move out. He said, okay, so what's your point? I said, listen, give me 6 months, give me a free apartment because I'm about to get evicted anyway. Give me a school to teach out of because I teach in the parks. I teach self-defense in the parks. And he's like, okay, so let me get straight. You're going to do something, you, and this dog. And your gun. Yeah, you, yeah. So the three of you are going to do something the entire Detroit Police Department can't do for 20 years. I've owned these buildings for 20 years. I've been losing money every year. But somehow you three are going to do something I can't do. And I was like, yes, I think that's, at least I'm hoping. And actually, I was an airborne paratrooper, and I was a martial artist, and I was a warrior. So for me, this would be a good death. And I really thought, honestly, because I watch TV, I was like, well, unless I get the deal so I can get arrested, but I'll probably get killed because bad people are out here. And these are real violent criminals. I was like, my God, I'm from Ann Arbor, which is University of Michigan. Okay, that's a suburb. There is no, the gangs there are called wrestling team or badminton team or, I don't know, soccer team. There's no like gangs, okay? We don't go to Detroit because it's scary there. We have cousins there, we're scared of them too. Even the girls from Detroit scare us where I'm from, okay? So to be clear, I'm pretty much sure I'm gonna die here. But at least, it'll be a legal death. I'll be helping families. I jumped on airplanes and helicopters for no reason. So clearly this will be a good death. This is like to help really good families that need help. I was like, this is gonna be cool, man. It'll be like a TV show. I won't see it, but it'll be interesting, all right? So television is the enemy. It ruins all reality. So Chuck Norris, all that was not true, guys. You need to watch Death Wish 1 through 14, and you understand what's wrong with me. Okay, Charles Bronson, none of that was true. Google that. None of that's true. In real life, violent people attack those people they perceive as weak. That is all. That is all. It's the TV show, this fantasy, they go after, hey, listen, last night some of my guys in Detroit got shot at, their vehicle got shot. That's because they were in plain clothes, they were in a vehicle, and they were going to work, not dressed like us, not in one of my uniform vehicles. Our vehicles have no bullet holes in them. These kids were just driving, one was being driven to another location to be dropped off. They shot the entire vehicle up. We're out going to emergencies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in Detroit. We're not getting shot. The criminals run from us. No gun. I got rid of guns January 1st of this year. When I first started, back in 1994, 95, we were getting shot at a lot. And that's because they found out that if you shoot at security people, security guards or police, they typically leave, right? I know, right. In real life, they actually leave, okay? So on television, they go forward and, it's not true, okay? It's called survival. And you remember that right when you feel like you're not going to survive. So self-preservation kicks in and you get out of there. Unless someone trains you, like in the military, to not think about that more than the mission. Mission first. And so what I did was in the 90s, I learned a lot about psychology and how humans actually work under threat and stress and duress. The building owner went into the black for the first time in 20 years because I got rid of all the home invasions and all the murders. So that's how I started. So I became sustainable long term because the wealthy man got wealthier. He doesn't agree with my whole ideology of helping people, of doing good things and keeping people from getting raped, robbed, or killed. That's not his interest. What he was interested in is the outcome of my ideas, the actions, the results. That's all he cared about. He still doesn't like me. He just likes the money. He's like, whatever you're doing, just keep doing that. You get the free rent, just keep doing it, whatever. I got a free apartment in each building, $2,000 a month. And I thought, $2,000 a month, I was rich. Let me be clear. I thought I'd made it. The dogs ate that. I expanded. Bulletproof armor costs more than all that. Gas costs more than that. But now we have boats, we have Hummers, we have motorcycles. I have a large staff. We secure. What's so funny is people used to say, oh, this stuff works where there's poor people, because this is a poor neighborhood. It's for poor people. Now we're in wealthy neighborhoods, the wealthiest. All the judges, prosecutors, wealthy politicians, wealthy business owners live in our communities protected. We keep communities safe through nonviolence. We don't create violent interactions. We create interactions that are positive with a nonviolent outcome. So it's an entire system, and a system that is designed specifically to create that outcome. And when Hurricane Katrina happened, I took a team down there. First, I called the state and the feds, and I said, people need help down there. They're not getting water. I was a part of a CERT program, which is a FEMA program, and I said, as a civilian, I said, listen, we need to go help the people. They said, absolutely not. So I took one of my guys, looked like Aryan Nation, poster child, 6'5", blonde hair, blue-eyed, skinhead-looking guy, put him behind the wheel of the Hummer. They thought we were federal agents. They thought we were in charge. I went down to Hurricane Katrina. They thought we were in charge. They're like, where are you from? Detroit, Threat Management Center. They were like, clear to go in. That's all it took. Remember they were saying you couldn't get into Hurricane Katrina the first weekend. They said it's all flooded. There's no way to get in there. We drove right in there. All I had to do was put Aryan Nation guy at the driver's seat, and they were like, these guys, cool, go. They're in charge. Whatever they say. I was like, wow, whatever we say. They were asking permission to do things down there. So what I learned is we can help under extreme conditions. We can help if our mission is based in love of humanity, not in force and violence. So when I went down there, there was no money. I spent the last of my dollars to go to Hurricane Katrina. If I would have got a flat tire, I would have learned to speak Louisianian because I had no money to get back. I couldn't even afford a new tire to get back. So I had to completely commit to the protection of life of others. And that means that I couldn't think about myself. I couldn't think about my future. I had to think only about the people we're there to protect. And the way to do that is to think about people that you're going to protect as your own family. If you look at them as your family, you will always protect them. We will always protect what we love, and that's the key to protecting humanity. You have to love humanity. So whenever you're looking for protection and whenever you think about what to do in a situation, just act like the situation involves you and your family, and you'll be able to create positive outcomes. Thank you.